Good afternoon and welcome to LUTV's coverage as Leeds United's under-21s are back at Thorp. They'll host Manchester United today in a game that has been rescheduled. It was supposed to be in the calendar right in the midst of a tough fixture run for Leeds, where they played the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City. But the adverse weather conditions at the time ensures that today's game will now be played in certainly brighter conditions. Leeds looking to try and finish as high as possible this season after a tough few months in the league, and they will go with Alex Cairns in goal today. Then it's Freddie Lane, Louis Philpott, Jayden Lienou, Jacob Howard, Alfie Cresswell, Sam Chambers, Charlie Crew, Harvey Vincent, Oliver Pickles and Reece Chadwick. And then the bench is George Kenyon, Samuel Alker, Callum Mills, Carrick Njinko and Louis Dudley for Scott Gardner's side. As for today's visitors, they have gone with William Murdock, Louis Jackson, Sonny Aljofree, Tyler Fredricson, Godwill Kukonki, Tyler Fletcher, Shay Lacey, Jacob Moorhouse, Chidozie Obi, Jack Fletcher and Victor Musa. The bench is Byrne-Hughes, Overy, McAllister and Lusale for Adam Lawrence in the dugout. And always special when a game is played on the what I would consider the main pitch at Thorp Arch from many academy seasons covering the 21s. It's a game that doesn't need an introduction in terms of rivalries. The two teams will be desperate to get one over on each other. Manchester United are sitting second in the table. They have 40 points to their name. Leeds have 18. So there's no doubt who will certainly fancy their chances. But as they often say, in a derby game, form can go out of the window if a team can get right under the throat of another and unsettle them. Delighted to be joined by Andy Cousins once again for an academy game. And I don't think you'd have needed much motivation today to get here today. It's just one of those fixtures that when it gets on paper, no matter if it's under sevens, it means something and the players will just be putting everything on the line. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, yes. No, absolutely, 100%. We know what the rivalry is like, and it goes all the way through the academies. And I go back to my day when we won the Youth Cup against Manchester United, where they had the Beckham, the Scholes, the Butts. They had a really good team, and form does totally go out the window. You can see there's a few more fans there as well watching today. So yeah, it's a real good test for them. They're second in the league at the minute, and we're obviously down at 24th. But look, it's a great opportunity to show what these boys can do against a decent Manchester United team. And but as you say, form does go out of the window here. I think it'll be a bit of a battle. Always is. There's a little feistiness goes on when Leeds play Manchester United for obvious reasons, and that goes down to the youth teams as well.
Yeah, so Leeds will have the kick-off. They've swapped ends at Thorp Arch. Cairns in goal. He gets a run out for the 21s. Leeds have had a whole host of goalkeepers this season. They've had Ilan Melie, Mahadi, Davan Onbank. Cairns has played as Manchester United looking to put some early pressure on his goal, which he handles against Southampton. Robbie Cook was in goal, who has impressed as well in his first appearances for the 21s. So unlike in previous seasons where there was maybe a team sheet you could name a couple of days out if everybody was fit, opportunities have been given to many players. A back five, we believe, this afternoon.
Certainly how we've set up, isn't it? At the back, but we need to be strong back there. We need to be clued in. They're playing one, but they've got a couple of wide players as well. You've got the Musa on this side who's playing a little bit. The 11 who's playing a little bit, narrow. But on the other side, he's definitely right on that wing. So, it's something they're going to try and stretch us when they've got the ball. We just have to have quality on the ball today. When we've got it, we've got to keep hold of it. The passing's got to be crisp. We've got to try and keep hold of it and move it around nice and quick to put some pressure on the Man United team.
A bit of a low-key start for either side. Does appear that visitors have got the flat back four. They've not gone the universal though, because Sonny Aljofree is playing right centre half, where he certainly appeared to be, despite having number 3 on his back. Back out towards the left edge. Possession with Kukonki. He goes long and plays it over the top. Miss-hit pass, and I guess when you try to settle, Andy, get yourselves into a familiarity of the game and what the other opposition are doing, little loose passes like that just give you more thinking time, more time to speak to your coaches?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it sounds like the wind's blowing a little bit. You know, certainly when we came in, it wasn't, you know, too much, but it does seem to be blowing a little bit, does the wind, which will have a factor. But you're just trying to find your way into a game when it's this early on into it, you know, trying to find your rhythm, you know, how they've set up, how we've set up, you know, and try and counteract that. You know, so first 5 or 10 minutes is never going to be, you know, a very smooth and possession game, but it's time to work each other out, really.
Back at the hard defence for Fredricson.
I'm interested to see how the Fletchers do, though, for Manchester United, since they've been on the bench, you know, for the first team, and it's a real good test for our boys against, you know, people like that as well. You know, because these are all, we're coming to the end of the season now, and it's all about, you know, we've got to think about this, you know, what's happening after, you know, this, you know, their development, their next steps. You know, it's not about first team football for a lot of the lads here. It's about where they're going to be next year, if they're going to be still at Leeds or if they're going to be moving on to another club.
The last few weeks of that season for Leeds to try and pick up more points as Chadwick is upended and wins an early free kick. And yeah, Leeds against them first half will have the wind right in their faces. Of course, it will be a different format in the second. We've had a few games like this on this pitch, which is very wide open at Thorp Arch.
It's changed a little bit since my day, you know, all them nice houses we can all see there. That used to be the car park and the sports hall. That's where we used to actually get changed before the new complex obviously was built, you know, back then. So it certainly changed a lot, but we used to love playing on this pitch. It was the first team pitch. It is where, you know, you're all trying to get to, even when you're, you know, working your way up in the ranks and playing on Saturdays in the youth team. You want to be playing on this pitch because it just has that little bit extra to it, to be fair.
Here's Chambers. This is Chadwick. Philpott picks it up. The youngster looks back inside. Chadwick has been marked by Moorhouse. Oh, he certainly had enough time to get to him. Crew will float it up in the air because the wind will certainly aid that pass to stay in play, which it does. Here is Pickles. Lane to Howard. Through to Pickles. Lee's just exchanging a few passes, just nice and sharp in there. Howard has Cresswell alongside him, but he's more of a familiar centre-half role again today. Cresswell has played all of the last, I guess, maybe 18 months as a centre midfielder. And he'll have that ability to adapt today. Yes, as a back five on paper, but if necessary, he'll push up, as will this man Lane to help Vincent. Teasing ball even better towards Philpott. Doesn't get the bearings right as Vincent just puts it back into a dangerous area. But as deliveries go, the wind maybe takes a bit of fizz off the ball, makes it a bit harder for Philpott to direct the power, but there's a chance there.
Yeah, absolutely. Vincent did really well down here, him and Lane. They're down this side again on the right-hand side, and it's another goalkeeper.
Yeah, sorry, Andy.
But down this right-hand side, you know, Lane and Vincent had a little bit of play, which was really good. Got Vincent a little bit of time, and he picked out Philpott on the left back, really coming through, or the left winger coming into there. He had time as well. I thought that, you know, as you say, the wind might have just had a little bit of an effect on the flight of the ball, but, you know, a good opportunity from Leeds' point of view, and, you know, very positive. And, you know, we know Man United are playing 4 at the back, so there is going to be them spaces which come out, and nice to see Vincent just coming out onto the right hand side, because I think then we're going to need a midfielder then breaking into that box to help the cross which will be coming in from them areas. But very positive.
Cairns to Howard. Leeds just finding a bit more rhythm. Lane, while under pressure from Jack Fletcher, goes back into defence. Howard and Cairns exchange passes, and Howard decides to go for safety. Chambers will be flanked today by Chadwick and Vincent. He's the false 9, so to speak. And it's a role he's played numerous occasions for the team throughout his time in the academy. 7 minutes gone. Intercepted by Tyler Fletcher in midfield. Good work from Pickles to put him under pressure. Just did enough to not concede the foul. Up towards Chambers. Awkward bounce means it's a bit of pinball in the middle of midfield. That's going to allow Jack Moorhouse to spin away. He goes out to Shea Lacey, who is another player from the Manchester United Academy that comes with a high reputation. Pass is blocked by Crew though, and now Chambers gets to it. Leeds are fighting quite well up front, high up the pitch. Chambers has Chadwick on his inside, and he will continue to drive this ball forward. He slides in at the last second. They're both appealing. He'll get a corner. Just all-round good play. Both Manchester United attack shut down, but they defended it well, as did Leeds United. Absolutely,
but it was just that little touch there, just getting into the box, which was just a bit too strong, which gave the defender a little bit of time to be able to get in there. And, you know, good opportunity again, you know, down that left-hand side this time, but, you know, good opportunity to get the ball into the box and, you know, with some quality from this corner.
Yeah, Chadwick, the usual set-piece taker, stood over it. Out to Pickles, nobody marking him. They will be made to rue it, will they? No, they won't. Howard and Chambers going for it. I think it's the foreman that's got the head to the ball. 8.5 gone, it remains goalless. But yeah, another opportunity.
Again, another opportunity from this this right-hand side. A lovely little ball, just played into the space and just couldn't quite direct it into that far corner. But again, very encouraging from Leeds' point of view.
Back with Manchester United at the heart of defence. They have Pickles trying to dispossess them. Crew's nipped in as well. To their credit, the visitors have got away from trouble nicely. And Tyler Fletcher gets out towards Musa. Returns the pass, but Howard's got him covered for now. An awkward situation for Manchester United to try and navigate away from, which they will continue to keep possession in that far corner. Back it goes to Kukonki. Lacey picks it up, trying to get past Philpott. Philpott, a little kick at the very last second. Referee, I'm not sure, was interested. The linesman, though, had the closer view, and it is a set piece. But yeah, I mean, anyone that's a avid watcher of academy football will know that Lacey comes with a reputation of being quite good on the ball, a bit of a trickster. And that's twice in a row now that he's tried to direct his run straight at Philpott.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a free kick. I think he's done a couple of step overs. Looks like he's all left foot. You know, from my first look at him, you kind of think he wants to come inside, Obviously, that time there, he's done a couple of step overs and gone down the right-hand side. It'd be interesting to see what his right foot does. You know, but, you know, in the early stages, you know, first 10 minutes, everything's been on his left foot. So he wants to come in, he wants to come into that area to then try and bend it into the box a little bit. From there, be interesting to see if he's right foot, but we've got to just get close to him. Don't let him do his tricks, and you know, if we need to, you know, pop him over the fencing, you know, that's what happens with the Leeds Man United games. You know, he might just need a little bit of a.
Let's break off because that free kick came in. Good header away by Chadwick, but yeah,
it's one of them where when somebody's playing the tricks and moving the ball, the ball's actually not moving. You've got to keep your eye on the ball and not on his feet. You know, he does like to. A couple of times when he's looked at it straight away, he's gone straight onto his left foot. He gets it on his left foot. He moves it around on his left foot. He hasn't really got that right. So if it was me, I'd be trying to say, get him down the line, get him on his right hand side.
Moorhouse takes the corner short. Putting pressure on Lacey is Chadwick. He was joined by Pickles, and a good slide challenge from the Leeds number 11 gives Manchester United a throw-in. Vincent and Chambers been told to push. Chadwick will follow suit. All from Scott Gardner's instructions. Leeds have forced them back.
Good pressure.
Yeah, it's quite simply direct running straight forward in a line.
And sometimes
very
it's
effective, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's harder when you've got the wind, you know, downwind, because the ball's flying around a little bit. But, you know, you could hear Gardner on the side there, keep pushing, and pushed them all the way back to the keeper, who then basically passed it all the way down to our keeper, which is kind of what you want. You know, you need to be able to put pressure on their back four, you know, and then pick up the bits so that you can start playing again. Because the last thing you want to do is play backwards. You want to be playing forwards all the time. Lienou's pass just slightly under hit again. That's where that wind will play its part. If it's not
inch perfect. It will go to the opposition in this first half. In the second half will be just as worse with the extra wind behind.
Depends how you look at it.
Golfer's nightmare. As a man that I know used to play a lot of golf.
Used to play a lot of golf until I had 2 kids. You still get out there. I don't know how you get out there sometimes.
That's why I said it. I just wanted to rub it in.
But yeah, I think sometimes it's easier when the ball is going, because you can have a shot from outside the box. You play slightly differently when you're downwind to when you're into the wind. When the ball's into the wind, it holds up a little bit more, so the passes you can put a little bit more into it. The long balls when you're downwind, do generally get away from you, so you've got to be a little bit more precise on that side of it. So it depends on how you look at it. It can be a pro and it can be a con for both. Here he is again. He's straight in onto his. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Lacey straight in on his left hand side. He wants to come inside. He wants to drive with his left foot. And Philpott there's done the right thing. He's got nice and close to him. I'd be tempted to get him on his right foot and let's see what happens on that, because I think you're going to have to try and send him down the line, because he looks quite dangerous when he comes inside.
Yeah, he's won a free kick, as you say. Wasn't the strongest of collisions. I think he's a bit unlucky there, the Leeds man. 13.5 gone. Lacey stood over this, discussing potential destinations for this cross. Pickles and Philpott in the wall, and pretty much everybody back inside the Leeds penalty area, or at least within the perimeter. Just coming across short is Jack Fletcher, perhaps for a message or two to the 2 players stood over this, including Tyler Fletcher. They do take it short, so now Lacey will get another chance to cross. He whips a dangerous ball in, but Cairns is easy. Pretty comfortable hands. Nice and easy step out of his line as Lane and Vincent get in each other's way. Lane will win a throw-in. And again, just by powerful direct running, he gets Leeds the ball back.
Yeah, good. You said the right words there. Powerful running, 2 of them, going for it. They had a bit of communication, and they got the throw-in in Manchester United's half, and we can set now and we can get going again. But some really encouraging stuff from our point of view. You can see they've got a bit of quality as well, and they've got to be careful of that. But certainly from our point of view, we're playing some decent football. We're getting in some dangerous areas, and we're the team at the minute who's created two decent chances.
It's back to Cairns, who goes to Lienou, gets a shout as the defender that he's got pressure coming, which he feels immediately from Lacey. Cairns out to Philpott, who's beaten in the air by Jackson, and Crew picks the ball up. He's made a few important interceptions to this afternoon, as Cairns goes for distance now up towards Chadwick, who will get a free kick. Aljofree, the one that he's penalised for the nudge in the back. Manchester United players believe he went over easily there while feeling the arms in the back.
As soon as you feel the hit, the arms, especially with 2 hands, I think you're going to get the free kick if you do go down. I think you can be stronger, but nowadays that's not how we play, is it? We get a touch and we're encouraged to a certain point to actually go down.
Yeah, good work from Pickles. Gets it to Lane, who dances away just about, but doesn't have the last touch away from the Manchester United player, as ball's over hit in front of Lacey, and that is where we mentioned that wind factor, and where it gets away from players going right to left, which the Red Devils are currently doing. Crew, when looking for Philpott, gives the ball away, and Manchester United just steps up there, pressurising a little bit, just squeezing a bit more.
Yeah, a little bit. They'll be kind of, again, feeding themselves into this game. I think the boys are on top of them at the minute. I think we've had more possession of the football, possession in better areas than what Manchester United have as well. That system, they're trying to get used to it. I think we're finding little bit of pockets of space around. I think the midfield are nice and tight to their midfield, so that we're not allowing them to play. And as you just said there, when the wind is that way and they try and play that long ball, it can quite easily get out of reach of them, and we get the attack again.
Lane back to Howard. There was a potential for a fast throw in there, but
yeah, Lienou down his side, right hand side, wasn't it? You know, he's finding space down here. You know, we've got, you know, Pickles just working his way into here as well, where you can hear the manager shouting, "Get it to Pickles, get it to Pickles," because he is finding a little bit of space in this little area. You know, so this right hand side is quite an important part of how I think the gaffer's kind of got him set up a little bit. You can see Lienu's just going in a little bit, which means we've got the three at the back. We've got our left back taking the throw in their half, so we have more people, you know, forward than what Manchester United will when they're in there. Again, good pressure, another corner, but that's kind of what they wanted to do. We wanted to put the pressure onto Manchester United, so they can't have that little bit of time and push out. Technically, they might be better than us, but actually physically and you know, mentally, we've got to be right on the ball from the first whistle. And so far, so good.
Yeah, there's Chadwick going to take yet another corner. Set pieces so far for Leeds, or crosses into the box, have at least put.
I think Chadwick's fans are in the corner. They're taking pictures of him every time he comes over and takes one.
The delivery as Chadwick goes once again right underneath the goalkeeper. It's a good punch. It's out to Pickles once more, who has an awkward little header back. Lienou gets it back on the front foot though. A little glance at goal. And now he pops it out back to Chadwick. Delightful pass, weighted perfectly. Chadwick trying to get past Tyler Fletcher. Turn back to Philpott. Lacey's going to cross to try and stop him. Chadwick's ball in, a speculative one. And Chambers was unable to get to that, always favouring the defender as Lane switches the play. It's an awkward pass for Pickles on the turn, but he gets it forward for Vincent, and Leeds win yet another throw.
Again, we're finding that space down this right hand side, aren't we, really? You know, good ball in from the corner. Keeper's done quite well there to get a hand to it and get a punch out to it. But, you know, we're first to the second ball again. You know, we can keep the pressure on Manchester United.
Howard to Cresswell. Out to Lienou. It's across to Cairns and back to Cresswell once more, who under pressure finds Philpott. Into Chadwick now. Lienou, good football from Leeds, all on the front foot. Lienou just maybe pushed it a bit too far, and I think he didn't really have the awareness. Did he have a bit more space to move into forward? You can see why he's passed it as well. It's a very close call.
The space was there for the ball to go into there if it was a good ball between the 18-yard line and the sideline. You know, yes, he could have also gone forward, but I think, you know, the way we're playing is we try to play on the front foot, and that front foot is played a little bit quicker than what I think the manager would want in the state of take 2 or 3 touches and run forward with it, or pass the ball into that space. And I think he's going for passing the ball into that space, and I take it down to the wing, just break off here.
Yeah, Overy trying to get past, but Howard's smothered him and now marches forward. Can see why he's tried to play it out there. He's running into a one-way street, trying to pick out Chadwick.
He was, absolutely, and he was hoping that there was somebody down that left-hand side to pick up onto there. But, you know, again, you can hear the wind, you can hear that's affecting the way both teams are playing a little bit at the minute. It will change round in the second half as well, but at the minute, yeah, we're right on top of Manchester United. You wouldn't think that there's a gap of 22 places in the league, you know, within the first 20 minutes. You know, you'd think that we would be a lot higher up in the league than what Manchester United are at this present moment in time.
Good work from Philpott, bit of extra aggression, gets a throw in as well for his troubles.
I actually grew up with his dad, Philpott. You know, we had Marcus Philpott as a second-year apprentice when I was a first-year apprentice, so he'll know what this battle's all about.
Got a slight stud to the ball, but Lacey's managed to get away. Dangerous situation this for Leeds to defend. Lacey striding forward. Cresswell's just ushered him off the ball, brushed him aside, still goalless.
That's exactly what I was just saying there. You know, Cresswell's come across, he knows exactly where he wants to be. Lacey wants to come onto his left hand side so he can get the shot off, and Cresswell, great defending, just put him down on that right hand side, and he just ran out of space because he didn't have the confidence to hit it with his right foot. You know, so great defending there by by Cresswell.
Cairns once again overhits the pass, it goes past Howard. Lane will bail him out, and Chambers drops into midfield where he's so natural as a runner to get away from Jack Fletcher. Lane back to Howard, and Cairns gets it away. It's up towards Chambers. Actually spins at the last second to Chadwick, who Getting a little nudge in the back once again, gets a free kick. Much to the surprise of Tyler Fletcher, who's tried to suggest there was little in that. Again, though, in the modern day, when you've got the arm fully at full stretch and the referee's within a few yards, you are asking for trouble. As Chadwick nips in at the last second, it's a brave challenge. I think he's caught maybe a stray knee there. The Manchester United played every right to go for it. So we try to keep Leeds alive. He's picked up a knock. Wind continues to blow in the faces of Leeds United, making life tough for them. You can maybe see why visitors haven't maybe tried to go and plug those gaps. You know, the back five certainly helps that as well, but as a relief ball, and you were saying earlier about the pressurising and forcing mistakes like Howard's tried to do, maybe are they a bit second guessing that long ball because they think, well, if we don't get it right, it's going straight back to them?
Well, maybe a little bit, but I think that, you know, you've got to give our boys credit. You know, they're getting close to them, not giving them time on the ball. You know, you could see there that Howard's come all the way in with him, which gives him that authority to do that. When they've got one or two up front and you're on him, you can follow that man all the way into wherever he wants to go. You know, and it's a difficult... just break off here with Lacey's going down there. Good tackle
Philpott,
again.
Again, good defending. The second time in a row, Leeds have stopped him in his tracks.
Yeah, and I think from Leeds' point of view, it just gives us that licence as a centre half to follow the player in. You know, which means you can get touch tight, so they don't get that space to be able to turn. And I think that that's helping our side of it. Man United want to try and play it out and find the little spaces and get it out to Lacey as their main threat. They want to get out there as quick as possible, and I think the wind is making a little bit of a problem for that side of it.
Lacey's delivery is taken short. Now the dangerous ball in, he'll go all the way through. And Leeds defensively thought each other had their marking assignments covered. And when you all second guess who's got who, that can happen. And the looping ball goes straight in at the far post, and I believe it could be Tyler Fletcher that might have claimed this. Disappointing. Leeds United 0, Manchester United 1.
Yeah, very disappointing. I think did somebody... What's Chad? You know, he kind of look at Cresswell there. He kind of ducks. Does he get a call from somewhere? Because it seems to be that he goes underneath it, and then Cairns has got absolutely no chance. And that's what this wind does. You know, when you've got the wind with you, they're the kind of balls which are just ultra, you know, terrible to defend against. But really disappointing. You know, we've got more possession. That's their first shot on target. You know, we seem to have had a few better chances, but I suppose that's why they're up there in the league and where we are. And it's communication between centre halves and goalkeepers, you know, because if the ball was too easy, we've got to get a little bit closer. It was a good ball in, don't get me wrong, but you know, we've got to defend better than what we've just done, really.
Yeah, Jack Fletcher, the one that's been attributed with the goal, and yeah, sums up the spell of Leeds' season at times this year. They've played so well for large parts and just lapses, which happens at a young level. He's looking to learn from that mistake and get back, as Cairns has had a ball fired into his feet. The experience allows him to get away. He was looking for Vincent or Chambers, both miss it. Now into Moorhouse, goes with the up and under to Lacey, brings it under control. Philpott and Lienou coming across. Lacey puts it on his right to swing the ball in for Musa. Pickles clears only as far as the edge of the area, but he nips in again with a second challenge. Visitors, though, turning the screw here. Nearly everybody inside that 25-yard area of the pitch for Leeds' defensive unit, but good work from Lane, and Cairns gets the communication perfect behind for a goal kick, and a bit of a confidence booster after that. You know, a very similar cross for the goal. Yeah,
you can see what they're trying to do, can't you? You know, they're trying to get it out there, and you know, when Lacey plays that ball in, it's a tough ball because he's putting it in some dangerous areas. We've just got to communicate better. You know, for the goal itself, the communication was obviously missing somewhere, you know, on that side of it. But there, you know, with Laney and Cairns, we had some communication and just let it run through, which is what you should have. I think the keepers have got to take control of when balls are coming in like that. You know, big shouts, and especially when Cairns is an experienced keeper. You know, playing with the 21s. You know, that experience should be passed across. And you know, look, as a defender, if you don't think you can get hold of it, you've just got to get rid of it. You know, if you're in two minds in any way, shape or form, put your head on it and then discuss it later. You know, stop where the danger's coming in.
Cresswell into Chadwick. Leeds skipper has a bit of time to assess the options in front of him, in which he goes back to Chadwick once more. The third 1-2 perhaps will be quite difficult. And it's Pickles instead that he chooses to play the pass to. Gets away from him towards Cairns. Cairns with a slight dummy into midfield, spots the danger from the Manchester United press as Howard, 27.5 minutes, goes to Cresswell. Further wide to Pickles. Chadwick, Cresswell, now Lienou, who would probably favour a bit of a inside left centre-half role if he can push into midfield. That time couldn't make the pass, and now Jack Fletcher releases Overy, who's running through on goal. Little glance at it, Cairns gets across, more work to do, and it is Cresswell that clears. And the first time, really, Manchester United have had like an inside channel runner which exposed the Leeds defence. For the first time, you didn't know Leeds were playing a back five.
No, he's won the ball in midfield, and it's a good ball through, and he's got a good touch, and to be fair, he can only really put it in one spot, and Cairns made a decent save on it. But that's, you know, the first chance they've had, really, apart from obviously the goal. But the first shot which they've actually had, and when the wind's like this, you'd expect a little bit more than that. When you're outside the box, you'd expect them to have a little bit, and it's got to be a free kick as well.
Card, perhaps?
Possibly a card, yeah. Yeah,
yellow card coming. And no real complaints, you wouldn't have thought, from Sonny Aljofree, who went full throttle for the ball and did not get a single touch of it. Chambers too quick, and I think it's one of those in the game of football where you're about to get, but you have to still get yourself there to win a free kick for your team.
Absolutely. It's the chance to be able to really, if you're going to get a yellow card, make it worthwhile sometimes. It's a soft one. The ball's kind of just run away from him. He's kind of committed already. I kind of see that as a bit of a soft, from my day, a soft, yellow card, free kick, but it stopped us really getting forward because, Chadwick was off. He was gone. You know how much quality he's got. When he gets a little bit of space, he was in front of him. And realistically, a good free kick from Man United's point of view. To stop the play from Leeds. But they are trying to find a little bit more space in Manchester United now. Just try to work out if they've changed it around a little bit. They've pushed their midfield on a little bit more. You've got Fletcher, just pushing forward a little bit, and finding a bit more space in that midfield now.
Space for Jackson. Fredricson will go out towards Musa. Lane concedes a free kick for the pull on the shirt. He's about to win the ball back, so it's a frustration, but the referee said he made an infringement first, which gives Manchester United more good field position. Jack Fletcher to take the set piece again.
That's where you kind of have a right footer sending it in, similar to what was on the other side. So with the wind, it'll make it a real tough, if he puts it in the right area, real tough kind of area to defend.
Steps over it. Good ball in. That's a big opportunity, that, for Manchester United. It was Tyler Fletcher from sibling Jack's step over, begging for a touch. He got one, and I think
it's a free header, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a massive opportunity to get a second goal. You've got keeper coming out. Yeah, he might have saved it, but you've got your goal at the mercy. Get your thoughts in a second, because Lacey's bursting forward. He's got the trickery. Lienou digs in to get back. Now it's an arm wrestle to see who can get the ball away. I think Lienou was trying to get a free kick out the linesman and gets it away from trouble and out for a throw, but yeah, the visitors knocking on the door once more.
Yeah, absolutely. As I say, a really good ball in. We said, if you come in a right foot or coming into that area, he's actually got maybe too much onto it. It's very difficult to get it down, from where he was, but a good ball in. Just break off again.
Yeah, Obi gets the ricochet, went for a second turn. Lienou and Pickles there to cover. Lienou's turn to show a bit of trickery to get away from trouble. Needs some support inside, and now he gets a free kick from a foul from Jack Fletcher. Just what Leeds needed. It's been a bit pressurised in there for the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, last 5 minutes they've really turned the screw a little bit, haven't they? They've pushed up the football pitch, I think, of Manchester United. You know, the Fletchers have kind of, I know the twins, they've separated. One's gone forward, one's gone back, so one's dropping into the back four, picking up the ball, the other one's going forward, you know, and creating a bit more space. And they're getting that ball out to the wingers, you know, on both sides. You know, you've got Lacey on one side and Musa on the other side. They're both getting it quite wide, so they've obviously made a little bit of a change, you know, on that side of it. They are getting a bit more ball in midfield. You know, we're not on top of them as much as what we were in the first 20-25 minutes.
Cresswell back to Cairns, who again just struggling to find a white shirt with the distribution. Jack Fletcher takes a glance at goal. It's the deflection nearly sent Cairns the wrong way. It will be a corner. And thankfully it's only that, because you've seen those go in.
Yeah, absolutely. As I say though, the other Fletcher has definitely moved up the football pitch a little bit more, and he's creating, finding a bit more space, you know, in there. So, you know, an important 10 minutes to get to half time. You know, with scoring tact, and hopefully we get some chance in there. But, you know, we've got another corner which we've got to be careful of, because again, a right footer bringing this in, it's going to be right under Cairns' crossbar, I would imagine.
He's got Fredricson right underneath him, asking for a free kick. He's the goalkeeper. Now he's got work to do as the flag goes up. And there's an offside, which suggesting that Tanner Fredricson had stepped up to put pressure on Cairns. And another free kick that gives Leeds a moment of respite.
Hey, you're the free player. Fred.
Scott Garner there just telling Pickles he's the free player, to suggest perhaps he's the one that's got to get on the move. Chambers gets a throw in.
Yeah, we said that earlier on, didn't we? Down this right hand side, he's got the space. He's not finding as much space as what he was. He needs to now maybe drift around a little bit more in the football pitch.
Yeah, Overy's won it back from Howard. Jack Fletcher pounces into Moorhouse, out to Lacey. Lacey and Philpott going at it again. Chadwick trying to get the ball away from Jackson. Chambers is pressurising, forces Manchester United back. Philpott nips in to get away as fast as he can, but Lacey turns him. Out to Jackson once more, low cross. Lienou doesn't deal with it. Pickles goes the other way, but no back pass on that. And it is Cairns coming to Leeds' rescue once more. Pretty much since the goal, Leeds have not had a foray forward.
No, as I say, they've definitely changed a little bit. They've upped the pace, and they've moved forward a little bit more in the football pitch. You know, they're creating a little bit more space. Lacey's come off that side, trying to get into the inside, you know, right kind of position, you know, to pick the ball up. Same with Musa on this side as well. You know, but they are definitely, you know, squeezing us higher and higher up this football pitch at this present moment in time.
Cresswell. Riskier pass was to Pickles, but safe back to Cairns.
It tells you everything when you got Vincent, your number 9, who's actually now playing at a right back down in this corner. You know, who's up top, who can pick up that bits, and then we can pick up the, you know, the little bits up and around the, you know, the centre circle. Especially again with this wind, it will force you backwards. You know, when you're playing against it, and, you know, as I say, Manchester United they're definitely on top at this present moment in time.
Ball ricochets off Lienou, out for a Manchester United throw-in. Cresswell clears with Chambers, the only one forward really for Leeds. He brings it under control, but Manchester United pounce. Tyler Fletcher gets away. Moorhouse is right up there as well. Howard, not for the first time, gets into space, but the pass is overhit, and tell of the tape last few minutes. Yeah, it's very little service of the Leeds midfielders, and that's another example of where things just could have been a bit tighter. Here's Chambers, gets a ricochet, then Manchester United get a bit of luck themselves. Evened out in the end as Philpott tripped Lacey originally before Chambers got to him. So the referee pings it back for a free kick.
Didn't see much in that, I have to say. But yeah, you could see the disappointment with with Howard coming out there, couldn't you? He'd done the hard work, he got the ball, and then the pass just wasn't quite right.
Fredricson, everyone for Leeds had pushed up high on Gardner's instruction. Jack Fletcher goes past Lane. Gets the 1-2. Dangerous ball in. Cairns gets there. It's a good move from the visitors. One that you expected to force a save out of Cairns. But again, Leeds are just struggling to break out from defence or midfield.
Just got to get a hold of the ball, haven't we? You know, even if it's just pass it across the back and bide a little bit of time, because we can't, at the minute, we cannot get hold of this football and keep it.
Yeah, Crew's done well, combined there with Pickles. Here's Vincent into the Channel 4 crew. Wants it back, does Vincent, which he will get it. Deflection should go Leeds' way. In fact, they've given the goal kick, and I'm not really sure. I'm happy to say I got it wrong. I thought if I've missed it, I've missed it. But that like a double deflection off the Manchester United legs.
No, I'm with you on that one. Sometimes you've got to be in the referee's ear when he's a bit like that and just say that's our ball, it's our ball, and go pick it up and take it, and he might persuade him to give you the corner.
Cresswell nips in. Musa. Lane flies in, it's hit Obi on the legs, so now Howard's got a race to stop him. Manchester United get the throwing call and into the final 7 minutes of the first half.
Move on. Philpott, be aware. Know where he is. Come round.
Chadwick to Pickles. Space for Lienou. Immediately closed down though. The pass was slightly behind him. Leeds have not been able to put 2 or 3 passes together now for what feels like an age. They are, as always though, never giving in. Defensively working hard. Pickles again sets off to close them down in midfield. Fredricson. 1-2 worked, and now he's got an angle for a shot, but Cresswell makes sure that can't occur. Now he nips in again. Touch unlucky as Moorhouse gets to it. Vincent to Pickles. I think Philpott wanted the ball and a few teammates frustrated there's no pass, but that's what happens when you're under pressure. You try and go for safety, and now Crew tries to split them towards Philpott. It's a fantastic pass, but can he get in support? The touch is heavy. He will get a corner. It's a great counter-attack, all being well, but Styles fine margins perhaps a little tiny bit heavy on the touch. Could have had a shot.
Absolutely. I think that was the first time that we actually put 3 or 4 passes together. You know, good little ball through from Crew. Philpott's in, but he's got nobody in the box, so he can't play it in first time. He's got to try and take an extra touch, which then gives the defender a little bit of chance, you know, to get his foot in. But again, another good chance from a corner.
Pickles picks it up again. Manchester United get there, and again with Lacey, hits Philpott on the back, out to Chadwick, into Crew, just beyond him for a first-time strike. Crew, while looking for Chadwick, doesn't get to him, but Lienou picks up the pieces. Good feet from him. Gets past Musa. Lienou still on the attack here. Musa gets back to him though, and advantage of being on the inside of a left-footed inverted winger. Always had the angle as Leeds recover with Howard. First time for a while Leeds have been able to win it back high up the pitch. Less than 5 to go in this first half. Pickles splits the midfield for Vincent, who has Chambers and Chadwick in the box, but the pass goes straight into the hands of Murdock, and it's out for Lacey.
First little bit of pressure we've had, isn't it, for maybe 15 minutes or so. You know, again, that's the difficult bit. You know, we've got the space down both flanks in the last couple of minutes, where we could have played a ball, and if we had an out-and-out striker, you know, who's playing on the last man, you know, who would make that run across, you know, and it's hard for the boys because they've got to take that extra touch and then try and find the, you know, the perfect pass, you know, to somebody, you know, coming into the box who's either coming in late. But a bit more encouraging the last couple of minutes, really, from.
Oh, mistake here from Howard. Nearly gets it to Obi. Cairns gets there. Sorry, Andy.
It's all right. No, I was getting a bit nervous then. But yeah, a little bit better for the last couple of minutes. We've passed the ball a little bit crisper. We've found our feet where we wanted to pass the ball to, and we've got a couple of chances then down the, you know, both full backs have got into space down the right and left hand side and created some chances. But you know, the last 10 minutes has been. 15 minutes has been quite a hard watch, hasn't it? Because they've had a lot of the play and we've not been able to pass anything, you know, between us. But at the minute we seem to be doing a little bit better with keeping hold of the ball.
Yeah, here's Philpott. Fires it across goal. Bit different sort of approach, and yes, he got the execution wrong, but quite refreshing to see someone go right at it, direct ball in the area.
Well, it's a little bit easier though when you've got two centre forwards already in the box, because the ball's come out to him. His first impression then is, right, I'm going to put it into the box. You know, when he's been in that position before, you look at it here. You know, you've got 3 or 4 places. The furthest man forward actually is our right back. You know, kind of tells you everything you need to know. You know, we need people in that box to be able to play that ball nice and quickly across, because as a centre forward, you want to get across the front man. Then you have somebody in the penalty spot and you have somebody at the back post, and that's how it works. You know, we haven't had that today because we know it, we haven't got an out-and-out striker who plays up top, who plays off that last man. You know, they've got Obi who's at the top, the big number 9, who's 100% a centre forward. That's where he plays, and he'll be in that box and he'll be making little runs. We haven't got that at this present moment in time.
The pressure here with Moorhouse into Jack Fletcher, 1-on-1, easy finish. Leeds United 0, Manchester United 2. Just before half-time, Leeds defensively unable to keep them at bay, and it's a brace for the Manchester United number 10. Yeah,
sucker blow that one, isn't it? Just nicked it off. I've got to say, his first touch was absolutely fantastic. Put it into a perfect little space for him to, you know, to create the space. If you look at it here, it's a great touch which gives him the whole goal, and you can't really see anybody missing there. Do we have to stay with his runner a little bit? Possibly. But look, great play. You can't argue with that, but it is a real sucker blow. 44 minutes, you know, 2-0 down. I don't think we really deserve it. You know, they've had a couple of chances, you know, on target and scored some, you know, two decent goals, really. Clinical.
Yeah, very much so. Real frustration for Leeds, who will look to regroup at half-time. Difficult time to concede as well when you've just a bit of a suckle though when you've had those few minutes of a response on the front foot. And then just before half-time, you are pegged back for a second goal as Philpott and crew nip in. Here's Chadwick, wide to Lane. Lane encouraged to have a go in to get in the box here. Delivers a low cross, which is cleared by Fredricson. Crew to Lane. And back to Howard. Now into Pickles. Cresswell gets caught by Obi. Cairns, though, is there on hand. Pickles lets it roll to give himself a bit more space, but doesn't execute the pass, and it's out for a Manchester United throw in stoppage time. Lane to Lienou, and there is the half-time interval. So a brace from Jack Fletcher separates the two teams at Thorp Arch at half-time. Join us soon for second half coverage. Welcome back then to LUTV's coverage. We've got changes for both teams. For Leeds United, Samuel Alker and Callum Mills have come on for Sam Chambers and Jacob Howard. And for Manchester United, Daniel Armour has replaced Tyler Fredricson. The Red Devils lead by 2-0. 24 and 45 minutes the goals. Jack Fletcher getting a brace. The first across, which you'll see a couple of times this season, into that corridor of uncertainty And it went all the way past Alex Cairns in goal, who thought his defence were covering things. And then the second, a hammer blow from a direct pass to the middle of the park. And a neat finish to unsettle Cairns, who was a bit of a sitting duck, in fairness. Leeds did have a little spell for 20 odd minutes at the first half, then a 5-minute spell before half time where they tried to push on. But they were up against the wind. Now in the second half, they should have the wind on their back. But that presents even more problems because you've got to adjust things totally. They've got to try and show a bit of fighting spirit like they have done all season. And 2 changes at the break, Andy Cousins, suggests perhaps, I wouldn't say not desperation, but a keenness to change things in their fortune right from the outset.
Yeah, it's like what we were saying in the break there, wasn't it? You know, we're just struggling without a centre forward up there, a focal point. You know, I think you touched on it, you know, in the first half, Tom, with regards to, you know, we shoot ourselves in the foot sometimes. We play some really good football. We've done it all season, and then the odd mistake comes in and we get punished for it. You know, it kind of happened in the first half with the first goal. It gives them that chance. But yeah, 2 changes. You know, look, we're downwind. I hope to see some shots on target. You know, put the keeper under pressure. 2-0 is always a dodgy scoreline because the next goal is massively important for both teams. We get it, we really put pressure on them. They get it, the game's pretty much over. So, you know, this first 20 minutes of this second half is going to be hugely important. And let's put some pressure onto Manchester United.
Good touch from Mills into Alker. Lienou back there. Here's Chadwick. Offside flag goes up, but it's the most progressive Leeds have been in possession for a while, and you can hear Scott Gardner encouraging his team. So the changes have made a difference in terms of Howard's a centre half, so you'd naturally feel there's been a mix-up of the back 5, maybe playing a back 4 system, a bit more support play. And Chadwick and Vincent, when Leeds have possession, could even be a front 2. It's 2 false 9s in a weird sort of way, but that was a pretty effective team move. They played the ball quite quickly, Andy, and the flag went up, but they got some good territory from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. I would imagine we've gone to a back 4 with the width which we've just seen there. Laney's obviously not right up forward like he normally is. You know, basically matching Manchester United up on that side of it. You know, we had a good chance there. You know, Chadwick seems to be a little bit further forward. You know, in that position, he's looking right across the line as well. You've got to make sure that you stay on side when you can see everything. I know you're so eager, you want to get forward because there's a bit of space, you know. But look, a much better start.
Yeah, looking for Philpott. Just doesn't get to its intended target, but again, another avenue for them to exploit. Philpott looks to have gone out to left wing. Lienou's dropped into left back.
Interesting with Chambers coming off, because you'd think he would be, you know, somebody who would stay on, you know, because we know what he can do. You know, is it because he's needed a little bit maybe for squad side of things tomorrow? You know, sorry, not tomorrow, for Sunday for the FA Cup tie. You know, same potentially with Howard. You just don't know. Might be something which they've looked at. But Chadwick is Chambers is a strange one to come off if not going to be involved in one way, shape or form with the first team, if not just travelling.
Here's Musa. Lane try to put him under pressure. And Manchester United get the throw in. Lane doesn't seem to be too happy about that call. Chadwick trying to outfox the Manchester United midfield, and 2 of his teammates couldn't react to the pass. It was too far in front of one, too far behind the other. Pickles with a touch on the ball, I believe, but a referee, I think he's suggesting he took Overy out first. Prime free kick position, even against the wind.
A little bit more difficult when you've got the wind in your face, you know, from this position. If you were downwind in this position, you'd expect a shot on target, but you know, they've shown a bit of quality with the balls going into the box. You'd expect this again, you know, from Leeds' point of view. We've just got to keep switched on and you know, make sure. I don't think there's much in that, I have to say. You look at the size difference, be a bit stronger, stay up. You're on the attack. But nowadays, as we've said before, you can't touch anybody.
Yeah, 3 Manchester United players over the set piece. Lacey is 1. I think Tyler Fletcher and Jack Fletcher are the other 2. And the number 10 is on a hat-trick. Leeds have got a job to do here.
You'd fancy him to have a go from here though, wouldn't you?
He's in Lacey instead. They tried to wrap it around the wall, which he did, but not inside the post, thankfully for Leeds and Alex Cairns. And he was just hoping to cushion it into a teammate.
I won't say what I was going to say then.
No, I was thinking if anyone in Leeds colours is not going to stand for it, it's Reece Chadwick who stood opposite him. So I do wonder if he gets out there, he'll do something. But now Leeds might do something here on the attack. Alker to Chadwick, try to lay it off. Vincent coming in, off the frame of the goal. Cruz picks up the pieces. This attack's still not over. It will be now as the pass goes astray. Massive opportunity for Leeds to get a goal. And Samuel Alker doing all the hard work to win the ball high up the pitch. The pressurising told. And he did well. He got his body in the way. They just couldn't put it in the back of the net. It sums up the first 52 minutes.
Yeah, good little bit of pressure, and he's got to the ball there, and he's got to put it in the back of the net, hasn't he? You know, we're 12 yards out. Realistically, he's gone for precision when really anything on target goes in the back of the net, and then you're right back up onto the back into this game at 2-1. It's disappointing because that was the best chance of the day for both teams, you know, without a shadow of a doubt. You know, unfortunately just didn't you know, get the pass, you know, in the back of the net, which you'd expect, but that came from this kid here, you know, doing a bit of showboating. If I was the manager, I'd be giving him a bit of a rollicking as well, because that's what it came from, him slowing the game down, you know, doing a little bit of showboating, and then nearly came back and bit them. But look, it's a great opportunity from our point of view, isn't it? And you put your money on Vincent to put that in the back of the net, no problems whatsoever.
Here is Crew, who appears to be the one that's playing as their makeshift centre-half. Alker's done well, gets away from trouble. There's an awful lot of loft on that pass, out to Philpott, the wind.
Like one of your drivers, that?
Yeah, standing it up. I'd be pretty proud it left the floor. Here is Cresswell. I hope he's got the wrong side of him. Cresswell's refused to give up on the situation. Hobie's claiming he's been caught in the face, which the referee's just playing on. Quite a big call, because if it is a legitimate head injury, the officials have got to stop it. That perhaps suggests how much they believe them. As here is Alker to Chadwick.
He's off the pitch, so he's fine. There was absolutely nothing in that whatsoever. He fell down like he's been sniped, but you know, you've got to be stronger. Look at the size of him. There's absolutely nothing in that whatsoever.
Yeah, disappointing to see as Lane takes it on his chest, on the front foot, skips away as well. Needs a bit of help inside. Does well to get it to Vincent. Cross is blocked, but he's just showing a little bit more life in their attack. Crew to Pickles. Visitors get the call from the linesman on the far side of Thorp Arch. Visitors getting out of trouble and a bit of pressure on the touchline. So Aljofree, who splits the midfield into Moorhouse, who's got the momentum behind him. Cresswell stretched his legs at the last second to stop the nutmeg. Lienou gets in, as does Philpott. They've done well there, Leeds. Cresswell to Cairns, who gets it clear. The wind's swirling around to make life difficult for those forwards underneath it. Crew too strong in the challenge. Alker's asking for it inside. Crew for now using him as a decoy. It's out to Mills. Mills in towards Alker. It's unlucky the two subs nearly combined. Added a bit of extra attacking intent to the play. Pickles fighting back to try and stop Jack Fletcher. It's a bit too strong from on that occasion. But to say these two young men off the bench, under 18s players, again, you compliment them by suggesting they've made a big impact since stepping off the bench this afternoon.
Yeah, they find a little bit of space as well, haven't they? Just that final ball in the final third is just not quite there. You know, the changing systems, you know, certainly help those. But they've, again, the young lads coming into the 21s, it's sometimes a hard transition, but you've got to also show what you can do to the manager, because this is the level you'll be at next year, and that's where you want him to play. And at the minute, they're showing some really good signs for the manager to have the confidence to pick them, you know, for the next games.
Cresswell does well. Referee gives the free kick. It was a close call. Overy appealed. He gets the decision. And that's a big frustration for Leeds United and what could have been. Aljofree under pressure from Chadwick. Vincent will step up now as well to put Armour under pressure. Lane with a strong challenge. It'll be an easy free kick for the official to give. Lane apologises.
It's the right thing as well, though, isn't it? You know, we're putting pressure on them. You could see they were finding it hard to get the ball out and move it out of the back four, you know, and find somebody to play. You know, so from our point of view, we need to be nice and tight and touch tight to make it even harder to get that ball in. And when it does come in, we've got to be right on top of them. Every now and again, you're going to give a free kick away. That's absolutely fine, but keep that pressure on them.
Tyler Fletcher right to the heart of midfield, looking up towards brother Jack, and Cairns gets there to stop that potential hat-trick. Here's Lane into Crew. Crew was looking for the inside pass to Alker, but it's behind him. Cresswell's got work to stop Overy. Does just that, as he has done all afternoon. Cresswell, when he's been one-on-one, ushered them out of play for another goal kick.
Ready, deep, work across. Right.
Lienou gets away. Philpott into Alker again, who needs a bit of help. Armour with a nudge or two to knock him off balance, but Leeds did have support up there. They've recovered back to Mills. Now into Crew. Lane needed a bit more help inside, so he has to go back to Pickles.
Steady play, though, isn't it? Keeping hold of the ball, keep it moving. Even if we go from side to side, keep them, you know, moving, you know, to get it, because it's a lot harder to chase the ball and keep the ball.
Crew's done well. Tried to go for the killer ball, the hardest one of all, and he's not too far away. Vincent's picked it up. He'll have a dig from range. And I think somebody had to have a go. It all broke down a little bit. It opened up, Andy. I don't think it's the worst idea, is it, to go from there?
No, not at all. You said it, though. He's gone for the hard ball. It nearly, very, very nearly came off. But again, a bit more encouraging from our point of view. Keeping hold of the ball, keep it moving. And we've got a shot on goal, which, you know, fortunately went over the bar. But, you know, a little bit more encouraging. You know, 60 minutes in. You can see the wind's picking up. We're picking up the ball a little bit more with the wind you know, as well, pulling it towards the Man United goal a little bit. So I just like us to have a little bit of a shot on goal sometimes, you know, from a distance, because we've got the wind behind us. Put the pressure on them.
Pickles picks it up. Nifty footwork, gets away from trouble, and now we'll drive forward. Philpott. Chadwick's dropped in. He collects it now. Vincent wanted it as well. Chadwick is going to go for goal. Bit of a sighter more than anything else. He's trying to wrap it around the defenders, which he did. But in doing that, a lack of power and an easy save for William Murdock in the Manchester United goal.
At least it's a shot though, isn't it? You know, give them something to do. That's the whole point. You know, when you're 20-25 yards out, if there's nothing on, you know, have a little bit of a shot. You just don't know. Look at what happened with them. A little free kick, passed it backwards, crossed it into the box. Nobody got on top of it, and they got a goal from it. But you know, look, we're still in this game. You know, this second half we've come out. You know, a slightly different system, pushing up the field a little bit, not giving them as much time, maybe not giving them as much respect as what we did in the last 15-20 minutes of that first half. You know, and it's they're finding it very difficult as well to get out of their half.
Cairns and Cresswell exchanging passes. Little flick pass to Lienou. Mills to Philpott. Crew try to stretch the play.
Right idea. You could see he was in space on that side. It opened up for him. It was the right idea, because, you know, he just kind of pulled the pass. He was in lots of space down there. Was Lienou as well. So, you know, it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, tried to get it out there, didn't they, as best they could. Louis Dudley has entered the game for Leeds. He will replace Freddie Lane. It's a more natural fullback onto the field of play. Callum Mills has had to go and get a new shirt, or if he has, he's adjusted his undergarment before putting on the number 15 once more. But yeah, again, Freddie Lane, last 5 or 6 months, has played out of position as a right back and done himself no harm at all. Lacey has been replaced by Finlay McAllister. Cresswell's done well. Lienou wins it high up the pitch. Mills, Vincent and Chadwick running into each other. The referee says nothing in that as Chadwick goes to ground. Philpott back to Lienou, into Crew. To Cresswell. And again, Leeds have probably for the last 10 minutes shaded the things and had the better of the action. Just that final pass that's not been able to help them put it in the back of the net.
Yeah, we've still had more possession than what Manchester United have had. You know, we just haven't had that final ball in the final third, which is, you know, seems to be a problem, you know, throughout, really, to be honest. You know, the first team are struggling in that position, aren't they, at the minute? We're not scoring as many goals as we would like to. But I think when the wins like this, I've said it before, you know, I think somebody just needs to have a bit of a pop shot outside the box. Give it a little bit of a, you know, give a try and see what happens with it, because, you know, this wind is definitely getting stronger, you know, and for a goalkeeper, if it's on target, it's going to be a tough one to keep out all the time.
Yes, we're into the closing stages as players get a few drinks on board with treatment being applied. Leeds will hope that Rhys Chadwick is able to continue. Just maybe tweak to muscle. He's not the player that goes down easily. But they are deciding to take no risks. He's holding the back of the hamstring. So Carrick and Njinko will replace Reece Chadwick. So all outfield players that were listed for Leeds are out on the pitch. And within 65 minutes. So you know what is to come. But the younger members of this squad, the 18s players, have again done themselves pretty proud. They're playing an age group above against the team second in the table.
I said this before though, Tom, they should be playing in this league now. You know, if you've got any ambition going forward within the football club, you need to be knocking on the door of the 21s if you're in the 18s. You know, that's what their next step is, you know, and the 21s need to be knocking on the door on the first team.
Murdock to Tyler Fletcher. It's a nudge from Mills, I think, rather than the challenge from Njinko. Njinko from Mills's pass. Offside flag goes up. Big frustration because it was an idea
ball,
that had caught them out.
Great ball for Mills there and a good run as well across the line, just offside. But that ball there was a great little ball in. We've had a lot more possession in the second half, you know, but we know what happened in the first half. You know, we did the same thing and then they went up the other end and scored. So we've just got to keep our, you know, concentration at the back. You know, as I said before, right at the start, the 2-0s are always a predicament of a score. You know, the next goal is hugely important.
Philpott. Goes all the way. What an effort. Louis Philpott with a rare goal. But it's one for the album, is that one. Smashes it into the far corner, kisses the inside of the post, puts Leeds United back in the game. It's 1-2 at Thorp Arch.
Absolutely, great little play as well. Mills has got it down this side, and he's just driven into the box, hasn't he? I don't know if it's a cross-come shot, but he's found a little bit of space. He's hit it hard, hit the post, gone into the back of the net. Leeds are back into it. As I said before, you know, 2-0's a bit of a predicament. You can really see it from this angle as well. He's come across, you know, it's a great finish, isn't it? I think he has actually meant that from that angle. But we've been putting pressure on. It's been some good play in the last 5-10 minutes. We've definitely had more of the play in the second half. You know, 2-0's always a predicament as a score. You know, the next goal's usually important now, and you know, we're back in this game.
Cairns to Alker, just as Gardner tells him to get central. And now he floats it out towards Philpott. Offside again. A couple of instances where the flags have just stopped Leeds' momentum. Important they can try and watch those lines. And we say it every week, I know fans will be frustrated. These are players that are not normally that far forward that are trying to watch their line.
No, and that's a frustrating thing, you know, because you are that far forward. You know, as a fullback, you kind of, and as a wing back in particular, you're trying to get forward as much as you possibly can. But you know, realistically, you don't think you're ever the last man. But you've got to be aware of that. You know, you're not used to looking across their line. You're used to looking across your own line. And you know, we've got to be aware of where we are, because 2 or 3 times this game we've drifted offside where we can see right across the line, you know, and we can make that decision to stop, and then we can, you know, go in and we can get into that space. But again, very, very more, you know, this second half, it's been much more what Leeds has been about. You know, the problem we've had this season, as he said earlier on, Tom, is that, you know, we've been playing some really good football, but we get the sucker punch comes in, you know, and we haven't had that this second half yet. So, you know, look, we're right in this game.
Dudley trying to get back goal side. Referee says there is a free kick. Took his time to give it.
He only give it when the players started shouting at him. You know, I don't think there's much in that, I have to say. you know, play to the whistle. You know, he's tried to turn into 2 of our players, and he's just fallen over. He shouts at the referee, and the referee gives it.
Yeah, Manchester United player is leaving the field of play. He's been told by the ref to go across the appropriate side. It is Jack Moorhouse that's going to make way. He'll be replaced by Samuel Lusale.
Watch him blocking back and stick. Sam, beware of the block, back stick.
You can hear the shout, can't you? You know, watch the block for the back post. You know, to the 2 at the back. There you go.
It's Vincent that gets across. Cairns delighted by his contribution to corner kick.
You can just see Musa just get a hold of Philpott, you know, and then you've got, you know, their player then round the back, the number 2 for, you know, for them. You know, Jackson, who's then creating the space. You know, you could see it happening. You know, Gardner could see it happening. You know, and luckily for us, it didn't get into that spot.
Corner kick given by the referee.
Drop right. Drop 2 yards right. You're right there now.
Lienou with another header. It'll be a repeat corner. Lienou's header. Philpott on the line, saving the day. Nearly an own goal. It's gone out of play now for a goal kick. Leeds finally get a breather. Manchester United.
You can hear him, their manager saying, "Get organised, get set." You know, so he's worried a little bit because we have been the better team this second half.
It's been a really positive response, hasn't it? As Lienou goes to Mills, returns the favour. Awkward delivery, dealt with slightly by the Manchester United defender. It's safe, but it is a corner.
Yeah, great ball in there, and let's give the defender some credit there. He's got a player coming right behind him, and he's just got a touch to put it out onto there. But again, some really good play down this left-hand side. Good little ball in, you know, and the defender's done enough to go out, but a great position. Put this right onto the keeper, you know, put some pressure really, you know, onto their back 4 and the goalkeeper from this corner.
Lienou coming in was Pickles. Philpott for another attempt. Another corner it'll be. I think we've found our new striker problem.
Yeah, our left back. He's dropped to him nice, hasn't he? Took too much height on the corner, which came in. You know, didn't really cause too much problems, but it just came out to him nicely, didn't it? You know, thinking, right, bit of glory. He's scored a worldie already. I'm going to try and score another one. But another corner.
Lienou's delivery. Difficult in the wind to keep it in. Pickles, far post. Chadwick, sort of delivery, far post. This time from a left-footed option from Lienou. And, you know, Leeds have gone far post for a good few weeks now with set pieces. Might be a different taker. Decent outcome. Just very difficult to try and, like, get there on ahead of the defender and turn it goalwards, though.
Yeah, I'd like it to be a little bit flatter because it gives them time to get in there. But we did quite well to put it back into the box. And again, I think we did get the touch on it, and we put it out. But again, more encouragement from Leeds' point of view. We just need to get one of these chances and put it away, because this second half we've definitely been the better team. Yeah, I think in the first half we didn't have any chances, at all on goal, and the second half we've had 4 good chances. We had a couple of chances in the first half where there were crosses coming in, but we just didn't have anybody in the box, but nothing on target. But the second half we've had a few more shots on target, and it kind of shows the confidence. But also this wind is causing havoc, and I think that it's working for us at this present moment in time, having the wind with us.
Overy gets away from trouble. Tries to spot the gap for a shot. Deflection helps it on its way for a corner kick. Shot corner doesn't go to plan for Manchester United. Leeds on guard and covered well. Does well. Unlucky looking for Mills, but it's picked up by Vincent. Jackson gets away, and Leeds just covering for numbers. It's all a bit frantic. Now Crew gets to possession, and he gets a simple enough pass out to Lienou, who's encouraged to drive forward. Leeds get the throw. Philpott takes it quickly. Into Crew again. Leeds always looking for that forward pass, trying to spot the gap. Second half been a totally different story to the first, where they could barely put, for about 25 minutes, put a pass together.
That first 20 minutes was some decent play, wasn't there?
Like it is here, with Crew going into Njinko. Philpott, the Leeds goal scorer, to Lienou. Mills. Lienou again towards Cresswell. Now with Pickles. Vincent goes back now to Cairns, offers a helping hand from a central position. Crew back to Vincent. Pickles. Back to Cairns. Into Njinko, doesn't make it stick though. That'll be a frustration. Into the final 12 minutes we go. Leeds forced a mistake.
Good pressure.
Yeah, Manchester United, as I say, have not been anywhere near the level they were in the first half, but
that's giving credit to us.
That's down to Leeds, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to give credit to us on that side of it, because I think the change of system has helped. They've got basically man-to-man. They know who they've got to be marking. And we've got hold of the ball and we've passed it around really, really well this second half. The manager's done a great job at half-time, and coming up to 10, 12 minutes left. We just need to get that one chance, and hopefully, we had that chance with Vincent in the first, when he hit the post. If we get another chance like that, we just need to put it in the back of the net, because the lads deserve something out of this game so far.
Vincent's done well. They try to take him out there, and Njinko's offside, so Vincent has to keep it. I think Njinko's still off. Vincent eventually runs out of help. And he's a bit unlucky there. I mean, the turn was fantastic.
Yeah, the
Just a
turn was
lack of
class.
support play. Fletcher works it wide to Musa, who swapped flanks from the first half, nearly into the final 10 minutes. Double deflection. Cresswell heads clear. Samuel Alker does well, as he has done all afternoon. Njinko sets off early. Alker. And Venture goes to Mills. Mills was looking for the inside pass to Njinko, doesn't get it right. Alker, I think he's just a little bit tired out there.
Yeah, some great play down that right-hand side by Vincent, wasn't it? You know, great little touch over the top. He tried to bring him down, but he was strong enough to and quick enough to get in front of him. But as you say, centre forward needs to stay on side because he wanted to play him, but you could see, even we could see that it was miles offside. You know, that's when we need to really be on the ball as a centre forward. You need to be thinking, right, okay, well, I need my man to, he's going to win whatever he's going to win, he's going to come into this position. You know, we need to make sure that we're on side. But again, more good play down this left-hand side.
Yeah, Cresswell, of all people, is the one receiving it at left-back. Tries to go back to the byline. Fires it in, hoping for a touch from a white shirt, and Njinko is the man that gets that touch. But the ball had a lack of power on it, and he can only cushion it into the hands of Murdock within the final 9 minutes of the game.
Yeah, some good play again down this left-hand side. You know, least expected your centre-half being at left wing. Fired it across the pitch, you know, with you know, the box with sheer power. You know, could have gone anywhere, couldn't it, when it hit the Man United player? But luckily for them, it came to nothing. But again, more good play from Leeds' point of view.
Alker into Pickles, who's having to spin and turn away from the pressure of Jack Fletcher. Dudley to Cairns. Crew to Cresswell. Now back to Cairns. Leeds. Space for Mills. Crew puts it into a bit of an awkward situation for the Manchester United defender. Who deals with it is Daniel Armour, one of the players on the pitch from half time, as the wind continues to affect the play. But Leeds have a spring in their step. Can they go and get an equaliser? They've got 8 minutes to do so. Plus a bit of stoppage time. Lienou towards Alker again, who's very good at just getting away from his man. Keeps possession well, shields it well as Pickles goes to the far post. Sorry, Andy.
I was just about to say, he's impressed in the second half, hasn't he, when he's come on? You know, he's done some really good work down there as Alker, and you know, he's left-footed, but he's finding space. He's creating little pockets of space for himself. You know, and he's making us tick a little bit. But final ball there in just wasn't quite good enough. 8 minutes plus stoppages left. You know, the wind's getting up. We need to put some pressure back onto Manchester United.
Cresswell being held back by Overy according to the official. It's Philpott. Not sure Manchester United will allow a free shot again. This time an awkward cross for them to deal with. It will be a corner.
Good play though. You know, down this left-hand side again. You know, he's got the ball in, and he's created them to have to panic and put it out for a corner.
Into Alker from Philpott. Needs space to shoot, gets it, but eventually blocked. Pushing the back surely. That time from Tyler Fletcher. Jack Fletcher's booted the ball away. It will be a card for that, I think. And it will. Signs they are under the ropes a little.
They're getting frustrated, aren't they? Which is good to see. This is where I'd like a right footer on it with the wind. You know, it'll help it into there.
Lienou's delivery overhit.
That's why I think it needs to be a right footer. You know, even if it's a bad one with the right footer, it could be a bit like what they got their goal from. If it lands in that space, nobody really knows what's going on. It bounces, it could go anywhere. A left footer, it's really difficult because you're playing against the wind a little bit by trying to turn it in, so you try and ping it like he's just done. The wind gets hold of it and it goes out of play. A right footer going into there, just put it into a bit of space, make sure it lands in on the spot somewhere. You know, we can anything can happen at that point. You know, so for me, in that position at this time, we need a right footer just to come over. Doesn't matter who it is, and just try and put it into the right areas.
Yeah, Obi is replaced by Overy for the final few minutes of the game. Lienou's caught by Overy. First involvement is to nearly put a teammate through on goal. And now he tees it back up for Manchester United to continue to attack. Jack Fletcher steams into the box. Touch off the ankles of Jayden Lienou. It'll be another corner.
Yeah, good defending from our point of view. They had a quick chance there, didn't they? You know, for a fraction of a second, they thought they'd broken the lines, but no. I've got to say the two Fletchers for Manchester United have actually been quite impressive. You know, when you think, you know, the dad Darren's all right-footed, you know, a hard-working, you know, player like he was. You know, these two guys are, you know, definitely got some of his traits in there with the hard-working side of it, and they technically look very, very good. You know, particular, is it Jack, the 10, who's got the 2 goals?
Yeah, Tyler's delivery in. Block from Cresswell. Mills went for a safety sort of clearance up towards Njinko. Now Murdock will clear, but he'll get caught in the wind, and it's right out of play when he couldn't have put it any better to ensure that Leeds can't get a fast attack.
Straight down the road as well, down to the prison. It'll be in the prison in no time whatsoever, will that ball? You know, I remember in our day we actually played a friendly against the prison officers and the prisoners over there in pre-season. You know, so we know what it's like in the prison on the other side. That's where our pre-season used to be, and yeah, we used to play against the prison officers and some of the prisoners for pre-season. You'd never get that now, would you, with a Premier League team?
Oh, different world. There's crew suggesting there's something going wrong with the ball. Referee lets him get the game back underway. Crew to Dudley, who's under pressure. Cairns comes for a bit of help, and now into Pickles. Alker to Vincent. That's blocked. Dudley gets in. Good challenge though, first of all from Jack Fletcher. And now Manchester United are trying to break forward. They're looking to kill the game. Leeds desperate, looking for the ball back. Leeds' possession dominance has sort of fallen away a little bit last 10 minutes or so. Since the goal, there hasn't been a whole host of chances, but did you get the impression there's going to be 1 or 2 more?
Get the impression there's going to be one way or another. You know, you kind of feel that it's, you know, there's something for both teams. You know, there's going to be another chance, you know, somewhere down the line, which is a big chance that always is in the last 5 minutes of a football match. Man United's point of view now is just keep hold of the ball, keep moving it about, don't rush like they're not doing now. You know, from our point of view, we need to get it up front nice and quick, you know, and on a corner situation, I quite like sometimes if we're in this position to put 2 or 3 up there, make them defend, and if we do get it up there nice and quick, you know, so we can get into their half and we can start pushing a little bit quicker. But you know, they'll just try and keep hold of this football now for the next however long, and you know, what minute of normal and whatever we've got for, you know, for extra time. But I think we've played some decent football. You know, I think we got done on the first goal a little bit of naivety and a little bit of less, you know, talking. You know, somewhere down the line, Chadwick just let it go, and you know, we've hit the the post. We've had a great goal then from Philpott. So, we've been there or thereabouts, and you won't think that there's 22 places between the two in the league, from this performance.
No, certainly not. Leeds looking to stop this from going out of play. It's a goal kick. Cresswell to Lienou. 5 minutes of stoppage time signalled at Thorp Arch. Here's Crew. Vincent makes an inside run. Alker's dropped in to help him. Receives the ball, the Leeds substitute. Crew looking for Mills. Doesn't know where the ball's gone. Njinko and Dudley's job to try and make sure there's no free kicks given away.
It's got to be our ball, hasn't it?
Manchester United player, I think, had a moment to forget there, lapse in concentration. His Crew. Awkward delivery, keeper for a second looked worried, but with the wind assisting eventually, it is still in his hands at Manchester United 2, Leeds 1. Again, Dudley's got work to do. The ball's been put right down in that far corner for Leeds. Into Vincent, now to Crew. Only options wide is goalkeeper Alex Cairns. Crew instead right up towards Njinko. Alker keeps it alive. Now Cresswell. Wide to Vincent. Njinko's done well, puts the pressure on. Doesn't, again, he's unlucky. You want to see that stay in play, but from Leeds' perspective, it's a game of two halves, as the cliche goes, and you've got to be really proud of this effort. The under-18s players are the ones that have stepped off the bench, had to fill in for, maybe pre-planned subs or injuries, and they've just epitomised what it is to be a Leeds United player. They've given everything they have. If it isn't enough in the next few minutes, but if you've Scott Gardner, you can see a ton of positives, Andy.
Well, there's a lot of positives. The way we've come out in the second half from the first half, or certainly from that 25-minute spell where they got the 2 goals. Here we are down the left-hand side again. Oh,
he's gone again. This time just doesn't have the dip, and his reaction tells you he feels he could have done that. Yeah,
I thought that was going to dip in, but it's been really positive. I think the 2 kids who have come on, as you said, Mills and Alker have come on, and they've done a really good job. I think down this left-hand side, I think Philpott's done really well getting, down, this flank. Look, we're putting pressure on all over the football pitch. In the second half, we've been really positive. The first half we were very positive for the first 20-25 minutes, and then they took over for the rest of it. They got their goal, which lack of communication between possibly the goalkeeper and Cresswell. Cresswell, ducked. Can he get hold of that and put his head on it? Can the keeper do a bit better? I don't know, but there's only those 2 who knows what went on there. But overall, I think we've been, as I said before, there's 22 positions difference between these 2 teams, and you can't see that. So I think it's very much a good credit to the to the boys how they come out, particularly in the second half.
Visitors just try to wait a bit more time, rub salt into the wounds. They've got their call they wanted. The free kick, although, looked to be very little in it.
And they will take their time.
Yep. defensive mindset first for Manchester United, but if you'd have said this at half-time is how the game will end, you would have been very shocked. They were in a comfortable position, the scoreline was in their favour. It's just an annoying way for the game to end for Leeds. Another corner again, just got a lot more of those 50-50 calls to take more sting out of the attack.
And that's what they're wanting to do now. They're just running down the clock, aren't they? Which gives the boys the credit that's due for them. You know, this second half in particular, they've played really, really well. They've been the better team.
Yeah, there goes the full-time whistle. Frustration, that the main mood, I think, at full-time, but a lot to take from it. A lot of young players, once again, doing their very best to get Leeds back into the game. Philpott's effort nearly did that after Jack Fletcher's brace in the first half, but it is defeat at Thorp Arch for Leeds United under 21s. They've lost by a 2-1 scoreline.